back to The Unleashing. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. Let's talk about a few things. Most of you guys probably noticed YouTube's worldwide outage last night for a couple hours. I was trying to get on my channel and stuff like that. Nothing was working. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And there's a number of reasons that could have happened. But I do know one thing. When it came back on, there was a bunch of channels missing, controversial ones. There's a certain guy I listen to once in a while. He's kind of kooky, but he worked as an ambassador for the U.S. and he's got some inside scoop. He used to do logistics for Walmart and stuff like that. And back in the 80s or whatever, or the 90s, whenever it was, he had intel that at a certain time that they would be used as prison camps and stuff like that, and it's pretty interesting. But I noticed that his channel was shut down last night, and I've read some other comments where other people's were too. It's hard to say exactly what it was and what they're hiding, but there's a number of things going on right now, and it's very interesting. Who knows what it is? I had a viewer, Sherry, she sent me in a picture from YouTube, from Team YouTube, and I'll show it to you guys. And, and then I've also heard that the moon was hit by something, attacks on Israel, all kinds of different things. There was all kinds of ideas floating around. But what I see here is just more and more stuff. If they could take down channels that quick, it just goes to show you what happened with Alex Jones was just like a test, and they will dump them. And I've said it time and time again. If you have seen channels or videos that you think that are going to help people that are left behind, record them, all right? They can't be erased. They belong to you. Once you save that video, it's on your own hard drive, okay? So anything that can, because they can come in there and, they could take it down. And I've hoped, that like my channel or whatever be up at least 30 days after everything kicked off. But, that's hoping for a lot. And it could be down before that even happens. It could go in a second, So really, seriously, this just goes to show you, that it's getting very close for that. But let's get into some stuff here real fast. The whole point of all this, is we've been looking at numbers now for a while, and if you're new to this channel or anything like that, we're looking at the possibility of the rapture and the tribulation starting this year, especially this fall. And one of the things I said was there could be possibly a secret peace deal. And it's not a peace deal at all. It's a covenant with many from Daniel 9:27 that the Antichrist makes. And if it was going to fulfill the 1,290 days spoken of in Daniel 12:11, it would need to happen around the 2nd or the 3rd of October. I was saying the 3rd of October. And this would line up with around Passover 2022 when we believe the Antichrist will go in on the scene, okay? Because of the two witnesses going for a period of 1260, which is 30 days less than that, I figured that they would show up about 30 days after this secret covenant is made. Why is that? Because that would mean that they would get killed 30 days prior to Passover, and then the Antichrist be waiting around for 30 days before it goes into the temple. It doesn't seem to make too much sense. And if we try to push the 1290 back a little bit, 30 days, like into first weekend of November, around November 3rd, this pushes the 1290 past Passover, and that screws things up because we know that the Jews flee for 1260 days. So it says when you see the abomination of desolation happen, you're to flee, right? And then we know they go for 1260. If they were to do this past that, it would be 30 days past Passover 2022, all right? This would also push their 1260 past the fall feast days, which need to be fulfilled on their days. For this reason, I said that the only way that this would work is if that 1290 somehow was done in secret. All right, and the peace deal that's done with Israel is done in its own thing. It's its own entity, okay? And because it says he goes in and stops the sacrifice, it doesn't say he breaks the covenant. We've just been said that so many times that's kind of where we go with that he makes a covenant with and he breaks it, and this isn't necessarily what happens at all. This would put the 1260 around November 2nd or November 3rd, all right? And when I would expect the two witnesses to show up, and the start of the real tribulation when the seals and stuff are about ready to break, okay? Because of this, and I'm just kind of filling in the back points of what we talked about the past videos, I said that if this is going to go down, Then the 30 days leading up past October 3rd to this time when the two witnesses show up, things are going to start increasing and extremely fast. Like exactly what we've been seeing. And especially with this whole YouTube thing that just happened last night. This is more and more proof to me that this is exactly the direction that we're heading, and things are still on course. They still want to do the peace deal, all right? But it's supposed to be sometime in December or something like that, right? I was listening to somebody that I trust earlier today, who's a preacher or whatever, and he was talking, and he was praying to God back in the day. He was reading Ezekiel 36 through 40, all right? And this talks about the bones coming back together, Israel becoming a nation like they are right now. So this totally debunks any replacement theology or the Jews being fake or any of that nonsense that I'm always fighting against, right? And gets right into the point that they are fulfilling it, they're exactly like they're supposed to, and that Gog and Magog happens, and what he was told is that Gog and Magog is a very short war. This is interesting because this is exactly what we see with the Jeremy prophecy that he had from heaven, that World War III was extremely short, a couple months, then we get into fights with aliens or whatever, right? And I've said that this is an aspect of that. He was told, the guy that I was listening to, the preacher, that it's a very short war. It happens at the beginning, and they can burn the stuff for 7 years, or whatever. They can have the supplies and stuff for 7 years after this war. It's very short. And then after that, a covenant is made out of Europe with them, okay? And one of the aspects of it is they get to build their temple. This falls exactly into the timeline and what we're looking at. That would mean that, let's just throw out the scenario, boom, rapture happens, tribulation starts. The second seal, World War III, that takes place is also an aspect of Gog and Magog taking place, and the war happens over there as well. Boom, they get destroyed, and it falls into God looking out for them again during Jacob's trouble, okay? When the smoke clears, they make the peace deal sometime in December or early 2019, in January-ish time. They get to start rebuilding their temple. They get it built by Passover, or not Passover, but Pentecost 2019, exactly like I was saying. And then this marks Daniel 8, that it's tread under by Gentiles in the world or whatever until it's finally cleaned out, their last temple for 2,300 days, which is about 8 months short of the 7-year tribulation. It falls within it perfectly with this timeline. So very interesting. Now, I've stated before that I see us getting out here last minute. Could the rapture happen any time? Yes. It's its own personal thing. We're looking at the tribulation, knowing that we get out of here, and because of this, making speculation on when the rapture might be, but I've said that it's probably going to be a last-second thing, and this is why people have visions that we go up right when the bombs are coming down, right, which is the tribulation, the actual part of it, the tribulations of Jacob's 70th or Daniel's 70th week, okay? So knowing this, I just got a comment from somebody else, and they know somebody, and they were just praying about it, and I believe them too. And they're praying, and they're like, do we get raptured before the tribulation, a little bit after it? When it happens, when? She was answered right on the spot and told the rapture happens exactly when the tribulation starts. And I totally believe it, and I find that extremely interesting. That's exactly how I was answered about the whole Trump thing when I was praying about it back a few years ago in 2016, April. And I was praying that he would get in, and I wanted him to win and beat Hillary, and I was told right on the spot, let the dead bury the dead. And it was stern and right to the point. And I was like, whoa, and I've never looked at the situation the same way again. Everything I see is a facade going on now from this point. But I was praying that he would get in because I wanted him to, and I've never really seen anything wrong. I think on the inside of this whole thing, though, there is diabolical schemes going on that are so sinister, and to make people lower their guards for what's coming, and this is exactly what we've seen. This falls into them shutting down all the space stuff that we've seen earlier this week, all right, and during this month. Exactly what I'm talking about, with stuff speeding up for the 30 days leading up to it. This is what we're seeing. They're closing things down quickly. They're not saying what. From what I've seen in my vision, when the rapture happens, the UFOs show up right on the spot. This is what I think they're blocking, but something else came to mind, and I want to talk about it for a second. What if what they're blocking is the rapture itself? I've stated before, when Jesus was casting out demons with the guys in the grave, they go, what do you have to do with us before our appointed time? They know the timeline. When I did the interview with Linda Moulton Howe, and she's in the Pentagon having a meeting, and they showed her the briefing, the aliens, which we know are demonic, all right, Nephilim spirits and organic flesh suits, all right, or and the different ones that they make. They said that they put Jesus and John the Baptist here for an event that was going to happen 2,000 years in the future. What they did right there was also give away a timeline. They knew from that time that Jesus was there, that there was an event that was going to happen 2,000 years in the future, and we know exactly what it is: the tribulation and the end of the 6,000 year timeline before it all starts. Okay, they know the timeline. Do they know it to the day? Man, if those UFOs showed up in that vision right then when we get taken out, there's a good chance that they might know it, and they might know it better than us. But they also know if that covenant that we're talking about really was it on the 3rd that nobody else knows about. We just have a feeling in the spirit right now. I didn't get anything from that, but I have had some people comment in that they have, and I definitely see things picking up. So I'm paying very close attention to it, and things seem to be right on course for it. Everything is primed and ready to go. The war front is just itching to explode, and we're getting close to the first weekend of November, which would be 1260 to Passover 2022, and I really feel, and there's others now as well, that the rapture happens at, boom, right when this thing takes off. It's an escape. It's pulled out before the disaster strikes, which is why so many have had the visions that we go up the same time the missiles are coming down and stuff like that. All right, there's a lot to this, but I really feel like it's starting to play out in exactly the order that we've been looking at, and it's starting to be revealed. I've said before, could it go on for another year? Yes, but it would have to really slow down right about now. They need to be starting to pump the brakes, because this thing looks like it's about to go through. I think that the Planet X system is on a faster course than what some of them said. I don't think it's coming in 2021. I think it's coming in 2020. The first months of it around end of February and March. This will be a year and a half. The 6 months lining up, and exactly what Hillary was talking about, wanting to be president after Planet X, right? The first one passes through. They've said that they're going to be underground for 6 months. If this is in 2021, she might not be president leading up to that. It could be somebody else. She wants to come out of the ground because she already has a safe haven underground, along with Obama, which she calls Obama the Great, who's planning on taking over parts of the UN and stuff like that during this time. All right. All of this seems to be fitting into place perfectly towards the end of this month, all right? And it's exactly what I'm expecting right now, unless something changes, all right? There is a number of things that just keep fitting into it perfectly. The war front, all right? The financial looming collapse is just about to happen, everything propped up. Every single thing, including them shutting down anything that has to do with viewing space. And what I totally bypassed what I was talking about is the rapture, and the whole point while I was talking about them and possibly knowing the day is we might be seen going up in the rapture. All right, let's talk about this for a second. I've thought so many times when I get blasted out through that building when I was in my rapture vision, it's so real, but boom, just right through the building, doesn't even phase you at all, So I'm thinking I'm in a spirit nobody can see. Why that UFO is over the lake? My stepdad in the car is not looking towards that massive mile-wide UFO. He's looking up my direction when I zoom in with eagle vision, and that's interesting. And I started thinking about it. When Jesus shows up, and we're going to be like him, we're going to have these new bodies that can do amazing things, dimensional, and all kinds of stuff that we can't even comprehend just yet. But walking through walls and showing up where you want to and stuff like that. Now, I went through that building unfazed. But this literally could fall into some of the new abilities because we're in a new body, that's for sure. There's no way I can handle as much joy that I was feeling. It would have killed me. It's just too much of an emotion. It's too powerful. So I was in another body already going up, and it was insanely powerful, like single-handedly take on the world powerful, just unbridled power, all right, and abilities, just total confidence and joy. It's incredible, all right? But when I'm going through that building, there's a chance that that's just part of the ability, being able to phase through things when you want to. If this is the case, the rapture could be a seen event. You see what I'm saying here? They literally might be able to see it on recordings, people going up. And I saw golden trails coming off. The best way I can explain it, it looked like Dragon Ball Z energy trails, just massive. They were all, they're golden, and they come off your body and they leave a trail behind you. You're flying with energy and power coming off behind you. All right. And this is exactly what I saw, and now I've heard a couple other people's visions, and they're saying the same thing. And it's like, well, interesting, more confirmation, because they haven't seen anything that I've talked about as far as I know. So it's very interesting. But if this could be seen from stationary satellites that watch the planet and stuff like that, like the one that just got taken out, and all the others that are in space, it could give proof and totally discredit the whole alien agenda where they're like, oh, the aliens took them. Because if there's a satellite or somebody filming that catches us going up and catches on film and we're blasting by the UFOs and they have nothing to do with it at all, that's really going to put a damper in the whole thing. Now, it's not going to, there's going to be people that are going to buy a hook, line, and sinker, but there's a possibility that we could be seen. It could be a visible thing that happens extremely fast. Now, I'm going up fast, that I can tell you, but I'm just throwing out speculation. I cannot guarantee this, all right? It could be dimensional. I see everything clearly. Can they see us? I don't know. But if there's a possibility that they can, and this gets recorded, because people have recorders going and things like that all over the world, they're going to be putting up videos and stuff like that. What are they going to do? They're going to want to shut that down as fast as possible, as in dump YouTube, just like they did last night. And I think they're doing nothing but test runs. Also with the FEMA thing on October 3rd. You guys see where I'm going with this? All of this seems to be pre-planning, test what you want to do. It's the same thing we did in the military, all right? We went down to Louisiana for a month. We did all our practice stuff, live fire drills, everything down there, and boom, we come back, take a little break for a month, head straight to war, okay? That's what we do. This all looks like pre-planning and pre-gaming to me, all right? So, as I've said before, this looks like it's game on. There's, if this is it, then we're about to get out of here, and it's something to definitely be joyful and excited for, okay? It means that the tribulation is coming as well. Record any videos. If you have any documents or you have anything that you want to write to loved ones, do it, all right? It's better to leave it having around and then go, oh, look, we have to go on another year. This stinks, all right? We'll punch numbers again. We'll figure out things, and we'll go through it again. Do I think that's going to happen? At this point right now, I don't. I think it's going to happen this year, and it still looks like it. Everything is so perfectly set up also at the year when they get their 70 years that they celebrate, It's very interesting. The whole thing looks perfect, all right? Along with the planets coming in, we know the timelines of that, all right? They're going to have CERN up at the 2-year mark. Most likely that is exactly where the hole opens, where those creatures come out, because they're playing with the dark side, all right? They're going to release them on themselves and the world for 5 months. Everything looks absolutely perfect. The timeline fits with when the planet's supposed to come through and then being on ground for 6 months, and for the seals that break that go for 1.5 years leading up to that point. All right, the numbers all look really good. And this means that if this is it, the 2 witnesses should be popping up around the 3rd. Could be a fluctuation in days. They go for 1,260 days. Could it be a little after, a little before? Yep, absolutely. But I'm guessing that they go sometime around the same time the abomination of desolation happens. I don't think they're going to go far before, and then the Antichrist waits around and then goes into the temple, or after he goes in and does the abomination of desolation. The Jews flee, and the 2 witnesses are still standing there. I don't really think that either. It's going to be sometime around that time, and I think we go up around exactly at that time, snatched out in the nick of time when the war breaks out, and it's going to happen fast. And the way things are looking fast-wise, it's all being implemented extremely fast right now. They're doing it at breakneck speed, so this still looks like it's game on, all right? Be paying attention, all right? I just wanted to get a little bit of this information and some ideas out there for you guys, all right? And we're still watching and looking, and let's pray and hope this is it, because it sure does look like it, okay? That's exciting. I'll catch you guys next time. God bless. Bye.